Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Getting into that Festbier, baby. Give them all to me. I will buy them. I will drink them, especially when it's from breweries that kind of dig. We've got Fat Orange Cat here. This is their Bavarian Kittens, right? Bavarian, yes. Bavarian Kittens Festbier. Yeah. What else do we have in a can here? We have a Marzen style lager, 5.5% alcohol by volume. Brewed and distributed by 12%. Well, brewed by Fat Orange Cat at 12% Beer Project. They do some kind of weird code, but it's Festbier season, so it can't be all that old. And we're done. It's what Fat Orange Cat does label-wise. I dig on their labeling for one specific reason. I like cats. I don't have a cat anymore. Peanut died a while ago. We're not a cat household. I like cats. Our household. I can tell this stuff from a mile away. Oh, third reason why I really dig. It's not really art related. Fat Orange Cat. Their price points are bonkers. Bonkers. I can get their baby kittens, $13, 4-pack. I picked this up for $9.99. I ain't hating on that, especially from a brewery. I really dig their beer. So from a price point standpoint, we're already winning. So yeah, said label-wise. All right. And as far as the beer goes, that's what you'd expect from kind of Marzen Festbier. They can range in color, but this one's maybe tinging on a hair towards the darker side, but not that much. That copper coin kind of glow to it, almost 2 fingers, because this guy pours awesomely. But off-white head. Very nice kind of carbonation on that sucker, too. I don't know if you can kind of check that out, but it definitely has this kind of, kind of sexy carbonation going on. So, yeah, we're here for Festbier season. Let's get a nose. Not about you. Not much going on there. A little bit of pretzel-y, kind of grainy, toasty malts. That's it. Really not getting much else out of this nose. It can happen with Festbiers. Not a big graininess. It's just this little. I rarely say pretzels when it comes to beer. The only time I think I've ever really kind of called out pretzels when I've had some like pretzel-based grain beers, and I'm like, oh, yeah, pretzels, yeah, that's fine. But this one actually reminds me a little of that kind of toasty, pretzel kind of breadiness, as opposed to just a baked brown bread. Think of that kind of pretzel kind of smell. Crush up those pretzels, give it a huff. You know what I'm talking about. And that's it. We're not really getting anything else outside of that. No off flavor, no off aromatic. No big kind of hop presence. It just comes off as a super ripper chugger fest beer. 5.5%. Expect it to be a little bit beefier on the malt side of things. We'll see what it ends up being like in the taste. But, if this was like 3.5% and I was getting that nose, I'd be a little bit more excited. But at the same time, I think we can get a little bit more in the taste. Cheers, y'all. Yeah. Way more showy on the malt side of things in the taste. It takes that, to keep that pretzel thing in mind. But outside of that, it definitely reaches into that baked brown breadiness. There's a spiciness to it too. I don't think it's a hop thing. I just think the way the beer and the yeast is kind of coming off, it's going to be a little bit of not spiced bread, but if you threw a little bit of weird grains into a bread, or even this beer, whether it be a little speltiness, something along those lines, that adds a little bit of kind of adds a little bit of something different. The way the beer kind of comes off. It's actually very, very cool as a malt base for a Marzen, because I think it's decently outside what you typically expect from a traditional Marzen, but it has that kind of build, that backbone in its core. Just when you get to that malt side of things, you get that brown breadiness, you get that pretzel kind of vibe, but then you had that little tinge of spice on there. And by spice, the best way I can explain it would be, again, it's that speltiness. I come back to the word speltiness. It could also be a hop thing. I'm not going to lie to you. It could be a really kind of Chinooky. I mean, I'm probably going traditional on this, but it has that little bit of little spice vibe. It's the best way I can put it. Peppery with little pink peppercorn kind of spiciness without too big of a jarriness kind of vibe to it. It's finish is relatively dry. I think that's accomplished by a couple different things. I think those hops are at play here with like a little bit of tannic kind of tea, like drying out kind of vibes, and I think it's decently attenuated. So there's probably just that dryness inherent with a lager-based beer that's fully finished. I got a 4 pack of this for $9.99. I'm gonna crush the crap out of this. My biggest nitpick here, and I've kind of mentioned it at the get, at least when I took the aromatics portion of the show down. ABV, man. I think if I drink this blind, I think I come in the fours, not the fives. If you give this to me in the low fours, I think it's a much cooler beer for me. I'm not gonna get all hot and bothered over it being 5.5%. That's not a high ABV beer, but just the way this comes off. I mean, it's my thing. I want every beer to be -5%, but that's probably my biggest nitpick here is that while cool in the malt side of things, I think a little bit of lower ABV would just appeal to me a little bit better. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a very, very, very mild nitpick and a very fun beer. Yeah. Like I said, Fat Orange Cat, we get wide distribution of their stuff because they do brew out of 12%. I know they have their brewery, at least they had. I haven't looked it up in a while, but so they have the brewery, but then they do all their canning and outside distribution stuff through 12% Beer Project. And 12% Beer Project beers are not really over expensive, but at the same time, they're not overly cheap. Sans Fat Orange Cat, and their stuff just comes to such a decent price point. Actually, I misspoke. I said their baby kittens comes at $13. I actually think it's $11 is what I pay for it, and I think they're just regular kittens comes in at 13 or $14. So that's how price friendly they are. And so when you're getting like Festbier like this that has a really cool kind of malt base from a brewery that does brewing well, because this is a really well made beer, nothing as far as negative or off flavors and stuff like that, and you're getting it at barely sub 10% price point for a 4 pack of pounders. All day this guy will buy it. So yeah, let's talk about it. It's one of the better fest beers I've had. I was like, yes. As a Mount Rushmore, let us know the ones that do me a little bit better. Like I said, sneak this down in those low fours, and then this is something I'm stocking on the reg. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're looking to pick up a really fun fest beer that kind of has a little bit of an Americanized DNA in it, but still has a really nice kind of traditional kind of sturdy backbone to it, you're gonna be hard pressed to find something a lot better than this. There you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Massive Beers, if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, podcasting stuff, check out Beer Massif. And Fat Orange Cat. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you been to 12% and had the beers there? Any of that stuff, all that stuff, down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. Hopefully enjoying fest season as much as this guy. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.